That's why I got saved in 1995. I'm at a Billy Graham crusade. Wasn't interested in listening to some old guy preach. That was not why in fact, I thought I was going to a basketball game. So they take me, I go there, and then, I go up, I'm angry. But dude, I had this encounter with the Lord. And I was like, I was like, you're real. You're like, I was singled out is what it felt like. And that's never changed. That's just never changed. New device, man. Ooh, if that has to do anything with it. I want to talk about being hungry. Super excited about this, man. Look at that. I can do interviews from my phone. Had my coffee. Life is good. I think I need to put that in there as well, my brother. Oh, it's like a Hawaiian blend. I don't like that. I think I need to put that as well. Makes everything wet. You're like, Jeremiah, you're killing it. Obviously, we should look at that. I love this new thing. I want to use it. I don't know if I'll do it right. There's cars out there. They drive by. All right, ready? Here we go. Oh. I love doing these. I love sharing these. Start the timer. This is going to be short today. It's going to be short. This will be one of those you're going to be like, oh, he didn't ramble on forever. I need to do a video on these. I would like to write a book on this. Who am I? And there are, I don't know how many, but they're on the back. It's declarations. I read these all the time. Ephesians 3, 1 and 4:1. I am a prisoner of Christ. Ephesians 4:24, I am righteous and holy. This is stuff that like the word says about me. And so I do these on our social media, on our Facebook and our Instagram. I think they come out every Wednesday. Sometimes I do them more often, but it's basically, I'm listening to what God says about me in his word, because the word overrides my emotions. It overrides my past. It's like God is saying, this is what I've created you for. This is how I see you, and I'm not accepting anything else. And so I read those and say, I'm coming to agreement with that. That's who I am, and I'm going to live that way. And so I do these declarations. These are really cool. I need to probably go through and do a video on them. But if I did a video one at a time, there's like 30 or 40 on here. It'd take forever. But I need to put it in book form. Wouldn't it be cool? A declaration book. All right. Today, we're going to jump into something. This was something that I was laying in bed the other night, and I do videos on a variety of things. I don't even know what this will be categorized under. It probably a word from the word, but I was man, I love the Lord, and I don't get depressed. I think for me and my personality, it's easy. It's somewhat easy to drift into despair and depression. Just getting down about the world in which we live, and the things that I see, and I don't know. I don't, I try not to focus on it, but you see, I was at this church, and there's this couple that had gotten a divorce, and they had a little boy, and he was probably 4, just the cutest thing you ever seen. And I think the couple had started coming there because they needed help, or they wanted to get help from the pastor or whatever, and then it didn't work. And now they both still kind of go to the church, but and I get it, okay, whatever that is, but the kids suffer. And the mom had come in on one of the services, and she didn't attend the services, but Um, her husband did, and he had the kids that week, I guess. And so I saw the mom come in, and she grabs the little boy and says, "Come on," she's coaxing, luring. She's trying to get him out of the service, and I was in the back. The service was over. There's, it was after the altar call. Pastor's giving some announcements, talking about the week. All that was cool. But, she came back to get the little boy, and he's walking, and he just walked right by the door to me. But then he just turned and he came right to me, and he's crying, but he's holding it together. And he comes to me, and I hugged him. I was like, "Hey, little buddy." I was sitting down. I said, "How are you?" And he turns around and he goes, "Daddy." And the mom comes up, and she's irritated, and she grabs his hand, which wasn't like mean or cruel, but she was like, "You'll get to see him next week. Come on." And he starts crying and leaves. And my heart just broke on that. It just broke on that. And man, I mean, it's difficult because you want to help those kinds of situations. And my heart breaks for that little guy. And the kind of environment that he grows up in. And I guess what I'm trying to say with all that is that, I want people, this is as authentic as I can be, honestly. I want people to benefit from me. I want my kids to benefit from me. I want to be the best father I can be. I want to be the husband that my wife needs. I want to be the neighbor that my neighbors deserve. I want to be the coworker that makes everybody better. You understand, at the end of the day, that's Christian. That's Jesus. It's not, I get to do I get to go to heaven because I got all the boxes checked. That's legalism. I'm a Christian, so I go to church and I try not to cuss and I try not to watch these things and I try not to say these things and I try to do some good stuff and I give some, there's all kinds of, you could talk about being a human being that way. Well, I'm a human being because I walk, I breathe, I try to drink water. That's mechanical. There's something about being a child of God that we are the point of contact where heaven meets earth, where the kingdom breaks into the world. That's what was Jesus. When he walks by, John the Baptist goes, "The kingdom of heaven is near." One of my favorite passages in Luke chapter 24, toward the end of that first section on the Emmaus Road, where Jesus encounters this couple that's been walking on the Emmaus Road. And after Jesus leaves, he just disappears from their sight. They're like, "Dude, that was him. I mean, couldn't you tell our hearts were burning?" They went from earlier on up in the verses, up a few verses before, faces downcast. I mean, totally, depressed, and then, their hearts were encouraged from just being in his presence. I think that's the greatest witness you and I can give, to a lost world: hope. Not living in despair, not living in grief and depression, living cynical. It's easy to get cynical. It's easy to pick up a fence. It's easy to walk around and be, "Oh, I can't believe it." And just, my heart breaks for some of the things that I see people living in. Just the way their lifestyles and what that produces, it just breaks your heart. So I see people and I'm like, I definitely don't want to put my kids through that. I don't want to, put, other drivers on the road. I want to be a blessing. I want to be the guy that slows down and says, "Dude, get on in." I want to be the guy that at the store that, just the cheerful word. I mean, that's who I want to be. So I'm laying in bed thinking about all this. Okay. And the Lord I'm just talking with the Lord about it. I'm just, as I fall asleep, I try to keep my mind, there's tons of things I could think about as I fall asleep. So I've been that's one of my quiet times, my protected times, fall asleep thinking and talking to Jesus. It just came to my mind, I'm hungry. And so my wife's got these bed sheets. This is random. My wife's got these bed sheets and they've got a little slit in the side where you can put your phone or you can put that probably is not a good thing. We're like so technologically dependent. But anyway, I got this little iPad right here, this one. And my son, I got it for my son. He was doing some things for the ministry and kind of, and he was using it for preaching and teaching and that kind of stuff. Okay. So he didn't use it anymore. And it's one of the older versions. You have to have internet, but I can still, to get online because it doesn't have internet within it. So you have to link up to like a Wi-Fi, but I carry my Bible app on it, my notes and a Kindle. So it's kind of like my Kindle when I read at night, and I just slip it right there in the little bed sheet. It's so cool because I would always put it like on my nightstand. I reach over and get it, knock everything off and wake Corinne up. And this is a long, in-depth stuff you don't care about, but it's cool. It's like bed sheets, and I'm just like, it just slips right down in there. So I reach and I pull this thing out and I start doing a word study on hungry. And I'm finding that the word hungry, it's used like 23 times in the New Testament, I think. I think that's how many times it's used. Yeah, I think it's used like 23 times in the New Testament. But there's only 3 times in the New Testament where it's used to describe, it's in the Gospels, of course. And, Matthew and Luke put it in and there's another place, probably give it to you, Revelation. But Matthew and Luke put it in the Sermon on the Mount where it says, for instance, in Matthew chapter 5, verse, where is it at? 6. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. And it was this interesting, I've said this before, but I went and kind of researched it to make sure that I'm I didn't make it up or think about it and then think I read it. But God doesn't bless everyone. Like the word blessing or favor, same word, like I favor, peach tea over regular tea. Okay. I favor that. You don't favor everything. I don't favor tuna. I do certain types of tuna, I favor steak over, whatever. And so there's certain things that I favor, and God has favorites. God has favor. God, blesses certain people. There's certain things. That's the whole going to heaven thing. Like God says, I'm creating a place and I've invited everybody to go there. Everybody. In fact, I've predestined we're going to do a video on predestination. So stay tuned. But I've predestined everybody. I've included everybody. I got a place for everybody. I'm inviting you. You don't have to come if you don't want to. Okay. There's another place you can go to. It ain't good. Okay. But this is heaven. This is where my son's going to rule. This is where the heirs to the throne, the saints, the inheritors of all of that I have, God the Father is saying, this is the place. And in there, I'm blessing everyone that's in there. I'm not going to bless those who don't want to be in here. I'm not going to bless murderers, liars. I'm not going to cause prosperity. I'm not going to cause favor. I'm not going to give favor to that kind of stuff. Okay. If you live in that, it's going to produce death. Okay. So I'm not blessing that. I'm blessing this. So God doesn't favor everybody. God doesn't bless everybody. And that really, it really struck me. And I come back to these kind of passages, blessed are those who hunger and thirst. Like there's something about, man, I'm hungry. I want to be the kind of person you want me to be. Like I authentically want to be this. I want to be this event when anybody runs into me, wham, they encounter him. Like there's something that happens. There's a spark. There's something that happens where their eyes are open, where they're jolted. Even just how I talk, period. They know him. He's that good. And he lives in my body. I'm his temple. The Holy Spirit lives inside of me. I think that's what he wants from us. He prophesies this specifically to the people of Israel, but talking about our day. It wasn't just going to be for Israel. It was going to be for, those in whom would follow the Messiah, Jesus, into the coming kingdom. That's the deal. So in Jeremiah chapter 29, this is a great chapter. There's all kinds of good stuff in this chapter. But at one point he says, of course, he's going to bring them out of Babylon, their exile. He's going to show favor on them. He says, I have plans for you to prosper you, all this stuff. You're going to call on my name and but then he says this, verse 13, You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. So God has not changed. Even in the Old Testament, Hosea 6:6, I read this in college. It just imprinted in my mind. I desire mercy, not sacrifice. The acknowledgement of God, not burnt offerings. Well, hold on. Isn't he the one that like instituted you have to do the burnt offerings? You have to give sacrifice? Yes. But the design is I desire mercy. I desire, not just sacrifice, the acknowledgement of God in everything, my intimate relationship with him. So there's intimacy. The whole goal behind what God wanted from the beginning is not just servants or slaves. It's not like God creates the whole entire earth. It's like, well, I'm not mowing the lawn and then creates Adam and Eve. That's not the idea. I mean, we were created. God had an intimate relationship with his son, the only begotten son, who took on flesh, lived among us as a human being, Jesus. Before he became a human, still God's the Father's son, however that works. And God says, man, I want more of this kind of relationship, and creates us in his image and likeness. And we are the physical version that's been invited into the relationship that Jesus had with the Father. That's bonkers. That's what he wanted from the beginning. That's the intimacy. And I want that. I'm hungry for that. And so I wanted to talk to you about this morning. It was just on my heart last night. I was like, I hope this comes off okay. Hope it makes sense. But like, man, I hope you're hungry. That's our whole team has talked about these videos and what we're doing with these things. And on one hand, I want them to be, I guess, evangelistic, where people that can drop by. And I've had people email me and message me and even leave comments saying, man, I just found this channel. I love these videos. And that's awesome. But I'm really not trying to hook and lure people in and get followers and all of that. Obviously we want a platform, for the word to go out, but I'm looking on hooking those who are hungry for his presence, who have had an encounter with him where they just feel different. That's why I got saved in 1995. I'm at a Billy Graham crusade. Wasn't interested in listening to some old guy preach. That was not why in fact, I thought I was going to a basketball game. So they take me, I go there, and it's Billy Graham crusade. I'm, gee, thank you. And then, I go up, I'm angry. But dude, I had this encounter with the Lord. And I was like, I was like, you're real. Like, I know you're not just up in the sky. Like, I was singled out is what it felt like. And that's never changed. That's just never changed. It's not religion. We made these t-shirts. They're over there on our shelf. Like, we made these t-shirts, reject religion, embrace Jesus. I should put those on our channel so you can get them, but it's reject religion, embrace Jesus. Like, I hate religion. Religion is this. And again, I had a guy say, you gotta be careful, man. There's good religion. I want to revive that term. And I get it. I understand all that, but I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about a person. I'm in love with the person. I live with the person. I walk with the person. He's my king. He's my older brother in the kingdom. Like, in a spiritual sense, I'm his bride. We are all his bride. He's the head of the church. Like, man, that's the guy. I'm all in. That's the guy in every aspect of my life. I'm filled with the same spirit that filled him. I talk with the same Father that he has. I'm hungry. Got to be careful. Keep it under 20 minutes. Man, I hope you're hungry today. If you're not, just say, God, make me hungry. Make me hungry. Just move in my life. Give me an encounter with you. It's the most important thing. Little word from the word today of encouragement. It was supposed to be shorter. I guess it was a couple minutes. All right. See you next time.